has come, and yet Native American Indian reservations are also considered sovereign, but they operate within the borders of the United States. I suppose they look at the reservation the same way they would look at a state. It has borders, and they have some of their own laws that are not, universal on the national scale. So, did the government invade a sovereign nation or a state? Either way, if it happens on the res, it's going to happen in your backyard. Now, granted, there is some unbelievable hatred, some unbelievable contempt towards Native Americans. Otherwise, this wouldn't be going on. Same way with blacks, apparently. But you think the tides will not turn. People keep saying the South will rise again, but I'm going to tell you, there's something brewing in the West, and we are on the beginning of it. And it's not just the Standing Rock issue, but it's been brewing. Now, how many generations does it take to begin the change? That enough seeds will grow into oaks, and these oaks are going to be the ribs of an unsinkable ship. But it's been brewing. People like Crazy Horse, people like Geronimo, Black Elk, and there are many in our own time, but they won't be listed until a couple hundred years from now. So you don't go and support their cause now. But again, it's as though the United States has invaded an entirely different sovereign nation within the borders. So is this not a war? This is a war declared on another country. It's the way I see it. You see, here in Kentucky, we have the Toyota manufacturing plant. And it's stated that once an employee enters the plant to work, he is no longer in the United States. In cases where local police have needed to execute an arrest warrant, they do not have the authority to enter the plant, as it is not a part of the United States. Literally, they have no jurisdiction. There are highly secured turnstiles to prohibit any unauthorized entry or exit without the proper credentials. Why then does this government have any authority on the reservation? I will state that whatever answer is told to me, I will hear it, but most likely I will not accept it, no matter how logical or lawful it sounds, as it is based on white law and not those of the Creator. As it is, the bulldozers and other machinery at Standing Rock have destroyed sacred burial sites, private security who have no legal authority. They are not cops. Some of them are former cops and former military, maybe active military, who knows? I mean, they were sending the National Guard there not to protect the people, but to protect that damn pipeline. That's $23 million of crude oil a day. You know that money's more important than human life to them. It's no surprise. But these private security, they have attacked innocent Native Americans. And when I say innocent, I'm going to tell you about a 3-year-old girl who was bitten in the face by a German Shepherd. 3 years old. Put yourself back at age 3, and all you know is 3 years of existence, and most of that, you're still in developmental stage. Her entire existence has centered around 3 corporeal years in her body. And she goes with her family because they are going to be the protectors of the water, the protectors of life. And she gets bitten in the face by a German Shepherd at 3 years old, as well as a pregnant woman was also attacked and bit by these police dogs. And none of these people are cops. Remember, they're private security. Remember, if you watched um, Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11, they talked about Blackwater. These contractors who go over there as they don't have any military or legal authority, but they protect the contractors by whatever means. I mean, they are literally mercenaries. They are literally not even mercenaries. They're it's guerrilla warfare, all to protect private business. And it's no different out here. It's no different. I mean, when I was a kid, I was 16. One night I'd gotten off of work at Hardee's, and I went to this store. Now it was closed, but there were Coke machines. And back then I had a thing for Mellow Yellow. That was the thing I always drank. And because if you've worked in fast food, you know the stresses of dealing with people. And so I also got a bag of Skittles. So I'm sitting there on the hood of my car, little 81 um, Mercury Capri. Looked like a Mustang knockoff, basically, you know. So I'm sitting on the hood of the car and drinking this Mellow Yellow and eating Skittles. And this cop comes flying through the parking lot. I mean, 60 miles an hour through a parking lot. And he gets right up on the car, and I'm just looking at him. And he's like, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. This place is closed." You know? And I'm like, "So?" I said, "The pop machine's open. The vending machine's open. There's popping Skittles. Technically, these represent that this business of Coca-Cola and whoever the hell makes Skittles, I forgot, whatever. I should remember because that goes back to a Trump Jr. comment. But, and I'm like, these businesses are open. They're open. And I purchased products. Well, you don't need to stay here. But it's a free country, sir. Idiots. Did you know that in the state of Kentucky, you have to have 1,800 hours of training to be a licensed cosmetologist? And only, what is it, 6 or 841 days consecutive. It's 75 days, 1,800 hours to be a licensed cosmetologist, 42 days of training to be a police officer. Oh, Spreaker, why are you doing this to me? I need to figure out what's going on here. Anyway, this time at Standing Rock will be known as one of the greatest of historical moments of the plight of indigenous people on this continent. Not to demean any other, such as Wounded Knee, for example, Little Bighorn, and 800 that were supposed to be hanged for crimes. The boarding schools, they're not talked about. The genocide, the literal genocide of Native Americans with smallpox. There are documents that indicate that captains in the East made sure that if someone died of smallpox, their goods, their clothing, their blankets, their items would be packed carefully to be distributed amongst Native Americans. It was known. It was no accident. Tainted meat. You do this to people, you think there's not going to be an uprising? Oh, they're trying to quell them. They introduce drugs and alcohol on reservations. They give them their poison. And now, Native Americans, you think, Everybody says, "Oh, that drunk old Indian. How are they broke when they got all those casinos?" Well, that's because there are people in tribal councils and heads of reservations, sometimes referred to as apples. Now, I did not know what this term meant, but it means red on the outside, white on the inside. Yeah, you look Indian, you talk Indian, but you worry about that money. Human nature, no matter your race, your religion, your upbringing, greed is the disease that will be the undoing of us all. But this will be one of the greatest historical moments because many, many nations are coming together to stop the one enemy. Members of every indigenous group on this continent, those who still remain, are at Standing Rock trying to protest 500 years of oppression. And 500 years of oppression brings with it some karma, let me tell you. And that's just the natives. That's just the indigenous people. And I'll just leave that where it is because it will come back. So, how else is humanity failing today? Came across an article that was written in actually exactly 2 years ago, October 2014, that 37 million bees had died. It said as a result of GMO corn. Now, what is GMO? Genetically modified organisms. Of course, this is tied to Monsanto. Did you know that I believe 38 countries have banned GMO crops and seeds? 38 countries. If you put GMO corn next to, regular corn, I'll say you put it out for the squirrels. It's been shown time and again that the corn that is most eaten is the natural corn. The animals know what's good, they know what isn't. And in this upload, I'm going to leave the others. If this stays as one long continuous episode, I actually hope so because there are things I said in the others that I'm not carrying over to this. But I need to figure out what I need to do with Spreaker here and be able to afford damn high-speed internet because I live in the country. I gotta figure this out. But anyway, 37 million bees. Now, there's something called neonicotinoid um, neonicotinoid insecticide, I guess. That apparently the corn, uh, it's some kind of pesticide, rather that is very poisonous to the bees, and apparently it got on the corn, and of course there's some kind of new aerial spraying technique. I don't know, but the bottom line is, with this many countries banning Monsanto and GMO foods, isn't there something to listen to? What are we not being told? Because I got to tell you, when I look at the news here in this country versus the news out there, there's a big difference. As I said, we're being dumbed down. And you want to know how we're being dumbed down? Just go look up how many countries have banned fluoride. Almost entirely. All of Europe, Japan, Israel even. Places in Africa, they've banned fluoride. Do you know what fluoride is? It was first marketed as the main ingredient of rat poison. It's also an ingredient in Prozac. They're literally drugging you. so you do not see through the veil, so that you don't care what they're doing to Native Americans today. So